You ready?
I'm ready.
I'm ready.
Welcome to the Artie's Attic Warehouse 13 Fancast, where a steampunk girl, a lifelong sci-fi fan, and a rocket scientist chat about the popular 2009 sci-fi series. There's never a dull moment with the agents dedicated to protect humankind from unexplained phenomena that manifest their powers in special objects. And there's all those friendships and relationships along the way. Grab a cookie while you can. Hope you don't smell fudge. Gear up with your Farnsworth, Tesla, and Neutralizer, and let's have some fun by snagging it, bagging it, and tagging it.
Welcome back to Artie's Attic. We're a Warehouse 13 Fancast. I'm the Warehouse 13 janitor, currently attempting to shake loose some artifacts lifted from the stacks by a magician. My name is SP.
Where's that light bulb?
And introducing Artie's Attic lead agent and historian who hides cookies in her glove compartment box in case her partner needs an uplifting snack. It's Agent Shannon.
I have so much ways I could talk about that, but hey, what's up, guys? Stashing cookies and where?
Girl Scout cookies, right? Oh,
Girl Scout cookies.
Girl Scout. Yes.
Girl Scout cookies.
Hi, guys.
Thin mints.
Hi, guys.
And also returning is the warehouse agent who is only looking for a few days of R&R at the beach. It's Agent Carolyn.
Yeah. Where's that lay? I could use that. I just want to say, I don't think there's a downside to that artifact, is there? I mean, really?
I don't think so.
Can I just borrow it for a month?
There wasn't a downside watching Myka come in his shorts. I mean, come on. When have we ever seen that?
Or Artie coming in with his, hat and his little coconut drink.
They must have had fun filming that.
I know, right? I wonder how many times you fell out of that hammock.
You had to
Knowing
practice
him,
a few times.
Probably a couple.
A whole day spent.
Probably.
But hey, I need to get it right.
Blop. Damn it, Pete.
He's more like, damn it, Eddie.
Yeah, he's not touching anything. He's just falling out of the hammock over and over and over and over
No,
again.
he touched the lay. He's not supposed to touch the artifact. That's the one he touches.
I wouldn't mind that artifact.
Right. That's an artifact I could use.
Especially if you're at work. You put it on and like all of a sudden you're at the beach, right?
What's the downside, right? There's no downside.
Everybody looking at you like, what the heck is wrong with that person? Why do they look weird?
Yeah,
what is
I
the
don't
thing?
know if Artie and if Myka actually saw the same thing that he saw.
I think once you get in range of it, it looked like you saw what was going on. And then once he took it off, that's when it went away.
So you just have to have a small enough office space so people entering.
Yeah, shut my door. I'm just going to shut my door, pull my blinds. Give me an almond joy. I'm in heaven for a while.
I bet it was just Pete that saw it since he's the one that had the lay around his neck.
Yeah.
No, because Myka said that she saw it. And I think Artie saw it too, because he's like, what are you doing with that?
Well, the hammock was real.
Yeah.
So was the lay. Yes.
Yeah, so they're not seeing the beach and everything. They're just seeing Pete in the hammock.
I don't know.
Right. I think they saw him scoofing off, and I think he got to see what the artifact was intended to let you see.
Ooh, you know what? I think there needs to be an artifact like this. You know, when you're preparing to give like your first public speeches or whatever in school, in high school, and they tell you the trick that was told to us in the Brady Bunch, just picture everybody in their underwear, right?
Yeah.
There's got to be an artifact that does that.
Just some glasses that makes you be able to see everybody in their underwear. And then all you do is
just
like
put on the
sit
glasses
there
for the walrus.
say, oh, yeah, that would work too. All of a sudden you have like, what was I going to talk about?
Yeah, doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. Or you just put on the lay and then, forget everything.
Right. We are continuing our Warehouse 13 series discussion with the episode that premiered on Monday, May 20th, 2013. 3 years before American Pharaoh became the first Triple Crown winner in 37 years.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know who that is.
Yeah,
American
horse.
Pharaoh was a horse that won the Triple Crown and it was 37 years between when it was one before. I want to say 77, could be 78. I don't want to do math in public here. And then 2016 was the first.
But you're the engineer. You should be able to map this math in your head.
Scientist?
I actually saw the list. It was the 12th horse to win the Triple Crown, and there was one a couple years later in 2018. We haven't had one since. So we've had 13 Triple Crown winners. American Pharaoh was the one in 2016, and I think the one before, I want to say it was Secretariat, but that sounds wrong. I think there was I
don't know. Secretariat is a horse I remember.
I know, but I think it was like 1974, and then there was another Triple Crown winner in 77 or 78.
I don't know. I don't follow it. I just know what you were talking
any
about.
Of it.
Only know what you were talking about just due to the episode, the reference.
See, I thought I'd throw it in there because you girls would like horses. I guess I'm wrong.
I do like horses, but apparently Jinxies does not.
Tricksies. All right. I'm
Tricksies.
referring to the Warehouse 13 Season 4, 14th episode, The Sky's the Limit. The Amazon Prime Video description reads, Artie is blindsided when Mrs. Frederick, who we actually see again, introduces him to Abigail Chow, the new B&B manager with ulterior motives. Shannon, your favorite Season 4 episode?
No.
Aww.
But it's a decent one.
No.
It's a good one. I mean, you get an introduction of a new character, which we haven't had in a while since Jinxie. I like Kelly. What's it, Kelly Hu?
Kelly Hu.
Hu?
H-U is how you spell her.
I was just it's funny because I was just watching Vampire Diaries for the first time, and I saw her, and I'm like, hey, she's in Warehouse 13.
Would you like to hear a few other things that she's been in?
Enlighten me.
So she has 151 acting credits starting in 1987. Her first credit was Growing Pains. She had 3 episodes of Growing Pains. That was her first credit. Yeah.
Growing Pains. Wow.
Oh my gosh, that's
that's
the Wayback Machine right there.
Yeah. At the time, it was the poor man's Family Ties, but in my opinion, it became better than Family Ties. But I like both of them.
So she was in Growing Pains and Family Ties.
That was the one
Growing
with
Pains.
Kurt Cameron in it, right?
Kurt Cameron.
Kurt Cameron. What was she,
like a
teenager?
Just crutch on him. Oh my God.
I don't have her character listed down, but yeah, she would have been young back in 1987. The next was 2 episodes of Night Court. Just throwing that out there. She was in the original Night Court. That was pretty good. The 1995 movie No Way Back. 23 episodes of Nash Bridges. Did either of you watch that?
Nope.
I remember hearing about it. I don't think I watched it.
44 episodes of Martial Law. She was the sorceress in the 2002 movie The Scorpion King. She also played
yes, she was.
Deathstrike in the 2003 X2 X-Men United movie.
Yes, she did.
And in some stuff. Shannon, I know you watched this. She was in 4 episodes of Army Wives.
Army Wives? I didn't watch that.
I know Shannon did. I can't place her in it.
But now I'm trying to remember her character. I can't place her in it either.
It was just 4 episodes, so it's a character that came and went.
She must have been like an
red shirt.
Yeah. She was in 6 episodes of Warehouse 13. This is the first. We'll have her all the way through the beginning of the 5th season. She was, and I podcasted about her before, a lot. She was in 13 episodes of Arrow.
I was going to say, I think she was in Arrow.
As China White, seasons 1, 2, 3, 5, 7, and 8. So she was in
the first couple of
to the end. Yeah. She was also in a Star Trek spinoff called The Orville. She was in 8 episodes of The Orville as Admiral Ozawa.
I never watched Orville. Everybody says that Orville is actually really good.
It looked too. Yeah, exactly.
I haven't gotten to it yet.
Before Strange New Worlds, it was the best new Trek on. And everybody will tell you that.
That's what I've heard, that it is on the list. So, that list.
I remember seeing commercials for it. It made me feel like I got the impression that it was like Galaxy Quest kind of thing. And I wasn't into the Galaxy Quest at all.
So the beginnings of the episodes are comical and they're chaotic and stuff like that. But you get to the end, there's a lot of heart to it. And they do actually give you a good moral of the whole story and everything. It's hard to describe unless you've actually watched it. I get where you're coming from, but it's actually really good.
Maybe someday I'll try it. But coming from a hardcore TNG girl, it's hard for me to look at it and say, hey, this is supposed to have comic in it too. I'm like,
Yeah, I get that.
Then I feel like you've cheapened it. So I passed on it. But maybe
Okay.
someday.
I think
I've watched a few episodes of Lower Decks, and I'm okay with it.
Oh, well, you said that before, but I didn't know you were okay with it. That's actually...
I'm okay with it. I just haven't watched all of them. It took a while. I mean, it was on for a long while before I even tried it.
Yeah, I don't think I've caught the second half of the last season yet. It's on the list, absolutely, and I've watched it and I've enjoyed it. I just haven't had time to watch it.
I had the same thing with Star Trek Prodigy. When I first started it, I was like, this is hard to get into. But then as you got into the rest of Prodigy, I was like, this is amazing. More people need to see this.
I know, this is great.
You're going to love me. I watched the first 30 minutes of the first episode of The Expanse this past weekend.
Well, you've seen it before. Right?
Well, now I have a 12-hour shift ahead of me, and I have to. So I was halfway through the first episode. I don't think I completed it. Or maybe I did.
Well, it's good that you brought that up because we talked about somebody that was in the first episode last week.
We did. Yeah. Yes.
Oh, we did. Also, Kelly Hughes done a ton of voice acting, and I don't completely remember her whole arc here, but when she came on the screen, I was like, oh, they so upgraded Lena. Really, because the Lena that we had should have been the Kelly Hughes character, should have been Abigail, and we didn't get that. So still a little bitter about that, but at least I'm glad we got that quality of character and actor on the screen.
Yeah, I did find it...
she's good at what she does.
Yes. I did find it interesting that the beginning you see Artie trying to keep the ferns alive because, he's not Lena.
They were dead.
He's like, please live.
Already
please
dead.
Live. Please, fine, just die. I don't care. And then at the end, you see her spraying them and they're like happy-go-lucky and living again. And I'm like, what'd you do? Replace them? Because those are different ferns.
They were different ferns.
Those are happy green ferns. Those are not the dead ferns that he was watering in the beginning.
Like the dead and brown ones.
They weren't completely gone, but you get to that level with a fern and it might just be over.
Like, is she using an artifact to relive?
I mean, it's like a library. You can check things out, right?
She did ask Mrs. Frederick to help her find some artifacts to help Artie.
Yeah, she said, if you want me to play in your sandbox, you need to let me have access to all the toys.
And I'm like, yes, ma'am.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like people haven't used it. Artie has used them. Claudia has used them.
Yes.
So, consistently.
I mean, Mrs. Frederick did say, we don't use our artifacts. We get them out of using them, and we try to work with what we have. But she did have a very good point when she plopped the boots in front of Artie. I mean, this was, yes.
Question.
Uh-huh.
So
yes.
she plopped the boots on and they are to dull the sensation, whatever, so you can actually think straight or whatever. Did he put them on at the end?
No. Oh. No, he did not.
I think he left them there on the desk.
I think he left them there because what she said sunk in. He is going, I mean, in this episode, I like that they addressed this because in this episode, he's just trying to push through. He's just trying to, I'll just keep myself busy and I'll eventually just get over it. It'll be fine. I don't have to deal with it. It'll be fine. Well, she makes him face forward and says, look, you don't deal with this. You have to deal with this. You have to talk about it, embrace it, and let it do battle with it and then come back from it. And you just keep doing battle with it until you are okay with it, because otherwise you're not going to ever be okay. And it can get to a point where you will lose that battle. Yeah. So it was, she made him face something and he was kind of like, well, poop.
Now she's
Damn
correct.
It, she's right. So dang it. You could tell in his face where at first he was just dismissive. Like when they were trying, I mean, when he's supposed to give her the tour. Sorry, I just did air quotes. that you can't see.
It's okay. We can see them.
Yeah, you guys can see them. Watch the YouTube. You'll see air quotes. When he's supposed to give her the tour and you see them out there and she's like, oh, well, look at this. And she wants to touch all of the things. And then he slaps her hand. He's like, don't touch anything. You can't touch anything. And he says, it's a lot of pressure to be doing this. And she's like, well, how do you deal with the pressure? And he says, well, obviously I slap perfect strangers' hands before they touch things.
You know, most people, when they come into the warehouse as workers or whatever, they all kind of have a fascination with stuff. And it takes that first time of things going horribly wrong that you then learn
You realize
the respect that you need for these artifacts. So she might be ahead of the game by him slapping her hand and her
absolutely.
abiding by it. That might be a good thing.
Yeah, no, agreed. He definitely does not want to be the person that allows another person to get injured or hurt or whatever by an artifact when he can prevent it. Of course, he also is then quite embarrassed and quite irritated that the Regents or Mrs. Frederick would send someone like her his way. He's fine. Don't tell me what I can and cannot do. And then leaves her in the warehouse and says, see if your psychobabble can get you out of the warehouse.
Out of the stacks is what he says, yeah.
Meanwhile, Mrs. Frederick comes by.
Yeah, I know. Putting myself in Artie's shoes, he's just slapped her. I mean, I recoil from that because you don't treat first of all, you don't treat other people like that. Second of all, you definitely don't, as a guy, you definitely don't treat women like that. You know, that's abusive. That's just not okay, that sort of thing. So I sympathize with him going, oh, no, that's wrong. But
HR.
Yeah, again,
Paperwork.
I'm like, yeah, how do you tell her not to do it? Because she was going all out on all this stuff. She was enthralled. She was fascinated. She wanted to experience the whole thing. And it's like, he needed to do something to slap her into not doing it. So
she was going to grab the Ginsu knife.
But afterwards, I definitely saw him regret it instantly.
Yes.
Yeah, Ginsu knife. Can you imagine what that original thing would do?
Is that the one that cuts tin?
Speaking of grabbing things, you see the magician grab the light bulb as he's walking out?
Yeah.
Since when did Myka and Pete start giving tours?
I know.
I think
I had that question too.
They did so because he needed to know for his own sanity that there was magic in the world.
Well, he did make Myka cry, so.
I thought that whole storyline was absolutely adorable, actually. The having Gramps find magic and believe in magic and his character, I just love that actor. Actually, he always plays somebody cute and endearing, and just seeing them want him to believe in magic. You got to get the old guy to believe in magic. Plus, he's probably not going to be around for very much longer, so I'm sure he could keep the secret of the warehouse from everyone. Plus, he's a magician, so they don't share secrets. So that whole storyline actually made me laugh with a lot of things Pete did.
Did you know the actor was an Academy Award winner?
I didn't know which one.
Yeah.
Gramps.
The actor, and this is like, I've seen him before, right? But I'd never known his name, never knew his history.
Wasn't he in Cocoon?
He might have been. I did not write that down. Oh my gosh. I think you're right. His name's Joel Grey, and he has 74 acting credits starting in 1952. This goes back to 1958. He was in Little Women, the 1958 movie Little Women. Yeah. He was in the 1959 movie Maverick, which was then redone by James Gardner and Mel Gibson, right? And
which was very good.
Who was the woman? I can't remember her name off the top of my head. All three really good actors, right? He won the Oscar for the best supporting actor in Cabaret in 1972. The Oscar was 1973, but the movie came out in 1972. That's what his Oscar was.
Oh, I didn't see that.
He's been an Oscar winner for a very long time. He was in the 1985 movie Remo Williams, The Adventure Begins. We've talked about it before. I'm kind of shocked that neither of you two have seen it, but it was with Kate Mulgrew.
Oh, did you send us that one? I'd probably.
That doesn't change anything. I don't know.
No, don't send me another one. I have my. Don't send me another one.
I've sent you. Yeah, he was in an episode of Matlock, an episode of Dallas. He was in an episode of Star Trek Voyager. It was season 2, episode 12, Resistance.
With Kate Mulgrew again, huh?
Yeah,
that's right. Yeah. He was disguised. The episode description is disguised while on an away mission. Captain Janeway is rescued by a man who thinks that she is his daughter.
Yes, I remember that one. Again, playing the cute, endearing character.
3 episodes of Buffy the Vampire Slayer, 6 of a show. Shannon, I wanted to ask you this. Did you watch the series called Oz? I think it was in the early 2000s. Oz.
No.
Okay.
Sounds familiar. I may have watched an episode or 2.
Yeah, I don't remember it. 3 episodes of Alias, 1 episode of House, 1 episode of Brothers and Sisters, and 1 episode here of Warehouse 13. So yeah, we'll get into more, but this was a stacked episode when you're talking about guest stars. This really exhibits the draw that Warehouse 13 was having with not only actors that have been around for a while, but really good Oscar-winning actors. So I have to give kudos to the show, to the creative team behind the camera, and to the actors like Eddie and Joanne to really draw all these great talent into the show. You don't get this on a normal like B sci-fi show.
No,
this is really good talent.
But and I remember the first time around when the show actually aired. I remember watching it then, and it didn't really stick with me then. And then only after I was right before I had Carrie, because she was born in June of 2013. No, yeah, 2013. So. And then I started doing the rewatch, and that's when I realized what I was missing and the history, and I'm like, that's when it became my show. But even back then, you had the draw of all the other actors. You know, like sometimes when you watch sci-fi shows, you're like, oh, I know that guy. They played in this sci-fi show, and they played in that sci-fi show.
Recycled characters.
You see the recycled characters, and you would see a lot of those people, hence the Star Trek people that you see in Warehouse 13. But that just shows how big of a draw it was getting even back then. In the late 2000s, because to get the Star Trek people that they got was pretty big. Because
just to get the people,
back in 2000s, they were still pretty big.
Yeah.
So when Warehouse began in 2007, I think
2009.
2009. So 2009. That's a lot of people that were coming in. So I'm glad that they got the pool that they had back then.
Yeah, they had and they all played such cool, interesting characters. Like they gave them good characters to be in. I want to say he was in another movie, Batteries Not Included.
I think that's him too.
Let me check. He was not in Cocoon. It's not in his IMDb.
I think it was Batteries Not Included, which I absolutely love that movie. That's such a cute movie.
I'm not seeing it. It's not. No. There might be an actor very much like him.
It's probably the other one that's in Cocoon that I know of. That's in Batteries Not Included.
He does remind me of the guy that the old woman was married to.
Right? Yeah. But yeah, their story. There was 3 stories in this one. There was the Artie story. There was the Claudia and Jinx story, and there was the Eddie and Myka story. So it was a very busy episode. I really found it funny when Artie, when he comes in and Pete says, well, I need some R&R. It's been a very rough year. And he says, well, how's a couple of days in Vegas sound? And he's like, oh, that'd be great, Artie. And then Myka's like, wait for it. And while you're there, you can check out why this person just like fell out of the sky onto a golf cart.
That's a weird one. It's when it first happened, I'm like, that's weird. Just somebody falling out of the sky, dead already? Really? That's
asphyxiated and dying of cold and hypothermia and everything. And when they were
falling out of the sky.
Did you guys hear the news story a couple of days ago. There was a big chunk of ice that fell on somebody's house, and there was no aircraft overhead when it happened.
Where'd that happen?
So nobody really knows.
Pete.
I can't remember. I want to say somewhere in Arizona.
Artifacts. Pete playing with artifacts again.
The thought is that it fell from an aircraft and then the wind took it a little bit before it dropped on somebody's house.
Let me get this straight. Ice fell onto a roof in Arizona.
Well, I don't remember exactly where. Hold on.
Mike, that's kind of hot. Would it melt before it landed?
I would think it would. Well, I guess it depends on how fast it's falling and how warm it is.
It was a Florida home.
Okay. That's a little bit more, I guess, doable.
Was the house like destroyed or?
It's went through a metal roof. It's pretty, it was a big chunk of ice, like 6 foot. And there was more ice found in the road. And the whole roof, if you Google and you see the search, not Google, and you see the stories and the pictures and stuff, there's like ice embedded in the roof. And it looks like somebody dumped a ice machine from a hockey arena into the roof.
Wow.
Well, I bet you they didn't get poker chips.
Who's got that? What was it? It was, whose coin was it? It was
I don't remember.
St. Cupertino. I was trying to think because it's California. And Pete, California has a saint? No, Pete. Cupertino, yes, but not a saint of California. Or the part where Pete's like, "Oh, I'll just go here," talking about the places that these three drunk people had been. I don't think you need to go. I can do this one myself. And she looks at him, goes, "Girls, girls, girls." He says, "Okay, fine. We can do girls, girls, girls together." And I'm just sitting there laughing.
I like the look she gave him when he was like, "Well, it's going to take days of interviewing. Oh, fine, I'll do it, and I'll just stay here and or
I'll take one for the team,
or we could just do it together and be done in about 20 minutes." And she's like, "Yeah." Like,
the look she gives him, he was definitely the lovable Pete that we know that is loves girls, girls, girls.
Yeah, but she said she'd do it together.
She did. Together. She did, and we should do it together.
I'm game.
Or
I'm game.
The stripper was like, "Oh yeah, I thought he was high," and she said, "She's like, nothing was coming up on that man. He was too drunk."
But you gotta imagine, over the years, Myka's got to be used to Pete by now, so she's just like, nothing phases her, but she's like, "No, we're not doing
that's why she could tell him that there were cookies in the glove compartment. But how did she lock him in the car? Like, he can't like reach over and hit the unlock button on the door. I mean,
bubble guppies.
Bubble guppies. Well, that and the sunroof is open. What?
I checked. We were watching and checked. The sunroof was open from the time they actually went there. And it's like, why? That's just bad planning. You guys knew he was at risk of floating up at any point in time, and you leave the moonroof open.
Yeah. But that's how Myka knows her partner. Hey, I've got cookies in the glove compartment.
Ooh, cookies, squirrel.
Oh, cookies. Myka, don't bench me in fourth quarter. Put me in, coach. Hey, I think I have cookies in the glove compartment.
He knew at that point that it was better for him to stay in the car until he was floating through the moonroof.
Not that it helped him at all.
Myka.
And he didn't get any of the cookies. We saw none of the cookies.
No, but he did have a Snickers.
Was it a Snickers?
Yes.
It looked like a Snickers because when he walked in the door, he's like, "I really hope that's a Snickers on the floor of this trashed."
I wonder if that was product
room
placement.
Well, it didn't have a label on it or anything. He just mentioned the word Snickers. So there was no product placement. He just mentioned the word.
I really think this is how Michaela's going to go through life. Food. She's motivated by food. It's going to be like Pete.
She's pretty athletic right now, though. I've seen pictures. She's
got the abs. She's taller than me. She could bench press, her weight.
She's in her Aaron Gray suit,
She could be. She could.
I think that uniform looks like Aaron Gray. I'm just saying.
Oh yeah, the white one with the Oh, I didn't think about that.
Yeah.
See.
Don't tell Sean.
I'm gonna let you do that. I was about to say you should tell him. Because that I know his big crush was Aaron Gray.
and wearing that suit too. So
I'm going to say it to him on purpose. I'm going to say him. Oh, by the way, SP says she looks like Aaron Gray.
No, don't pull me into it.
Damn it. Yeah. I can't. Well, now I can't look at it anymore. Damn.
I can't unsee that. Dang it.
Oh, Sean.
And then SP gets a text message. Damn you.
Yeah, what the hell, man? I can see that.
That's my daughter. I don't want to know. I don't want to think about that.
Yep.
Talking about think about that with some people. Polly Walker, we see her again, right?
Polly Walker. Oh, the one that is outside the warehouse saying, I know how to, he's in there and I know how to get him out.
She's your target.
Yep. She was in the 1995 movie Restoration, which both of you have.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm. Have you seen it?
No.
Dang
you
it.
sent me these videos and I just stacked them up on my stack of videos.
Polly Walker is in there. So is Robert Downey Jr.
This one came from, yes.
You guys need to watch it. It was really good. It was good.
It's on the list. I'm sure it is.
We're watching Polly Walker now. You need to watch it now.
Was she ever in? No, I don't think it was her. Never mind. It's her eyes sometimes that it makes me think of. She's played Hera in Hercules.
Yeah, she does remind me of Hera.
Yeah, but no, not in her IMDb.
That's a different actor. It's a different actress because her eyes are pretty crystal blue.
How did they know that? How did she know that the warehouse was even there? Isn't it supposed to be like secret?
Good question, but I ain't gonna tell you.
I'm sure we'll find it out. But
she's tracking down everybody. Yeah.
And who is it? I know where he is. Who's he?
Oh,
Could be
I'm
somebody
Artie.
that's bronzed.
Oh, that's true.
You don't know.
You didn't think of that? I know where
I was just thinking it was Artie because in the end you see her say, "Here's your target," who is Claudia, and Artie would do anything for Claudia. So my brain went to they want Artie and to get him out.
They want Claudia.
I mean,
well, they want Claudia to get to Artia. don't.
Okay, but they want Claudia because I know the story plot. I mean, she's
don't
next.
spoil it.
I'm not, but you know, because we've already seen it. She's the next big bad. Everything for the warehouse.
Oh yes. And then the other story with Claudia and Jinxies and Jinxie's like, wait, the Regents have an issue? Oh, yeah. And Claudia's like, what do you know? She gets really irritated with him for snitching on Artie, but he's like, hey, he is not okay. And he needs help. And I learned this at the ATF. If you're not 100%, you're going to cause problems and you're going to injure people, which he's not wrong. And then at the end, she understands that. But I did find it funny when they're trying to go into the club to get answers about these jockeys. And the guy standing outside says, you need to have your fairy godmother make you into a princess.
Little did he know.
It was a nice dress on her. I did find that scene very funny. And she's like, well, you could always come by my room and get these.
That was brilliant.
Get this stuff back. And he's like, yeah, 10 o'clock. And she says, make it 9:45. And then as she's exiting, thanks, Jeeves, smacks him on the butt.
Yeah, this is another example of somebody that's been around. The actor who played that Sir Henry guy, Sean Austin Olsen, he's got 61 directing credit or 61 acting credits, but
Austin Olsen?
Yeah, Austin-Olsen. And he's probably most noted by everybody that's listening to this that plays video games. He was a voice in Assassin's Creed. He's been in a lot of stuff that you would have seen over the years. So this is just another example of,
he does look familiar, yeah.
Yeah. And he's not the only one. There's a lot of people here. Like, remember the hotel concierge that they were talking to, Shannon?
The guy that's talking about how he keeps them there.
Yeah.
Yep.
He was actually in 2 scenes, and he has 207 acting credits since 1987.
Holy Moses.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
He's
Busy
been
guy.
in it a lot. So I'm just going to go over some of the highlights that I saw. Because he had a lot of onesie twosie stuff. But he was in the
Red shirt.
2004 movie The Day After Tomorrow as a Japanese astronaut. He was in the 2008 movie The Incredible Hulk, played an FBI agent. This episode of Warehouse 13, he was in the pilot episode of The Expanse. He played Interrogator number 2. So not a named actor, but he was in there.
Interrogator number 2. Interrogator number 2. Hey, that's me.
Yeah. He was in the 2016 movie Arrival as the Chinese scientist. And
I've
Shannon,
heard that's a really good movie.
Probably where your brain is going. Shannon, you've seen him before. He was in the second season premiere of Strange New Worlds as Commodore Typhoon.
Oh. Need to go back and rewatch all of those too.
I don't remember that episode. But maybe I don't remember titles. Sometimes I remember what happens in the episode, but I don't remember titles. So no, I don't remember him in it.
I didn't give you a title. I just gave you the episode. It was the second season premiere episode.
Okay.
Second season
I don't remember.
premiere.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
I
all
have
right.
to go back and watch it.
There's a lot of other people that have played in Star Trek as well in here. The promoter, Val's promoter that we saw, he was in several things, but one thing was Star Trek Discovery season 3 episode 11. He was in there.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Also an episode of Winona Earp. He was in season 2 episode 9, Forever Mine Never Mine. Shannon, you might not remember him. He played a shopkeeper in that. But he was in Winona
I do
Earp.
actually. I do.
Oh, yeah?
He didn't last long, but yeah, I remember him.
Red shirt.
Seems to be a theme in that show.
Seems to be a theme.
But he also was in 3 episodes of Suits, an episode of Jessica Jones, and 4 episodes of the Umbrella Academy, which was pretty big a couple years ago.
Yeah, I need to finish that.
That's another example of somebody that's been around and in Star Trek and everything. So, like I was saying before, this episode did have a lot of noted actors. There's several others that I didn't go through all their IMDb's, but one, though, that we haven't talked about yet is Monty's granddaughter.
Mm-hmm. Granddaughter, yes, because she called him Gramps. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, her name was Rose in here. Her real name is Zora Zettner, and she has 55 acting credits since 2000. 1 episode of Gilmore Girls. She was in the 2001 movie American Pie 2, so not the original, but the sequel.
I haven't seen that one. I saw the first one. But
and this is another question I have for you, Shannon. Do you ever watch the series Everwood? Does that ring a bell? It had a Western theme to it, so I didn't know if you watched it or not. She was in 12 episodes of that. She was in 9 episodes.
Everwood or Deadwood?
Everwood, not Deadwood.
No.
Okay.
I never
She was in 9 episodes of Heroes. 9 in season 1 and season 4. So 8 in season 1 and 1 in season 4. So that's okay. I mean, good on you. Season 1 was good. 10 episodes of Grey's Anatomy, 2 of Mad Men, 1 of Grimm. I think you watched Grimm.
I did watch Grimm, yes.
I haven't started
Grimm.
yet, but
is that on your list?
Cool.
It is good.
On my list.
It is very good. I liked it.
It was one of the choices to choose this past Saturday, so
it'll have some history in it. You'll like it.
Oh, see, that's all you need.
Only this episode of Warehouse 13, 3 episodes of the Astronaut Wives Club, 5 episodes of Designated Survivor, 8 episodes of The Right Stuff, and I have podcasted about her before because she was in 2 episodes of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. in the 7th season.
No. I don't remember her.
I watched so much of that episode for a while. I can't remember which is what season anymore. There for a while, I was like I was blowing through the seasons, and then I got distracted or something, and I didn't go back, and I don't remember where I was.
Squirrel.
Remember, if you watched it till the end, this was the season that they had the lighthouse?
No.
Oh, yeah, I remember the lighthouse.
I was watching it until Coulson
died again.
Was chasing after Daisy.
Oh. Chasing after Daisy.
Yeah.
Daisy?
After she turned inhuman, I'm thinking. Is that
maybe somewhere around that? And then they were looking for her, and she was like promoting some kind of media from inside of a van.
That was the pilot episode.
Yeah, that was the beginning.
No, I remember her doing that, but yeah, when they started looking for her, that's
That was the very beginning. That was the pilot episode. So you didn't see much.
No, there was quite a few of it I watched.
The problem with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is they went down the Inhuman route, and Marvel has made a conscious decision to get rid of Inhumans. They're trying to make all the Inhumans into mutants because that's where they think the money is. They just made the Inhumans because they didn't have the rights to the mutants, so they went down that path.
No, I like the TV show that was a spinoff of that, where they had Amy Ackert in it. I can't remember the name. It had Amy Ackert and her two teenage children.
Oh, it wasn't a spinoff. It was a Marvel spinoff. Yes, it was The Gifted, I believe.
Yes, I liked watching that.
That was good. I liked that.
So anyway, Nora's been around. She's played in some really cool stuff, a couple of space stuff with The Right Stuff and Astronaut Wives. So cool. And she played the granddaughter that was just trying to do the right thing.
Just trying to give Gramps the send-off that he deserved.
Yeah.
And it made Myka cry, so she had to bring him to the wows.
Yeah, it's like the sadness in Gramps' eyes of like, no fool like an old fool. And then you're like, I can't leave it that way.
Hope they snagged back that light bulb.
I'm sure they did.
Shannon, what was your favorite part?
I liked when Artie at the end realized that he actually needed help, and that as much as he would like to believe that they're all out against him, that's his family. He needs to be more aware that everyone loves him there, that he just needs to have. And it was right that Mrs. Frederick brought an outsider, because he was never going to sit down and have the conversation with anyone there.
Mm-hmm.
Because he already feels too guilty. So he needed to have someone he could talk to that doesn't know him as well as the other ones, that aren't going to judge him for that. He can't have that conversation with Claudia or Myka, because all they would do is cater to him and say, it's okay. It's okay. But it's not okay. He killed one of their own. So I like
someone he loved.
At the end, he's kind of lost his gruffiness, and he asked for help. So I think that was some growth that we've been needing to see that for the past couple episodes.
Yeah, when you see him come in and say, I've killed someone I loved, and I don't know what to do about it. And his absolute just face of, I'm lost. I don't know what to do with it. I don't want to go down the road you were just talking about, where you lost a patient because they didn't deal with this immense grief. And I'm not putting on the boots.
I don't think any of us would blame Artie. It was circumstances beyond his control. He had to watch it actually happen. It's like Picard as Locutus. You can't blame him for that.
Yeah.
It was out of control.
Yeah.
And everyone there's been whammied before. So, I mean, this one just had deadly
consequences.
The consequences that of someone they knew. So, but SP, what was yours?
Well, first, let's get Carolyn's.
Well, that was one of my favorite parts. The other one, I think, there were several just pieces of it. I don't know if it's like a favorite part as much as it's just favorite, like the magic of Gramps and his belief in it. And he's trying to convince Claudia, and Pete's breaking things like he usually does in the office. And he says, "Oh, you're such a nudge." And she just giggles. And then he shows her, here's a trick. And he pulls a flower out of her ear. And she just gets this like childlike grin in her face. Love that. And then Claudia in her hat, where the guy's like, nobody in the club would be caught dead in that hat. And she's all dressed in this hat with a purple
She's like,
thing.
oh, I picked this out and everything. Okay. Well, since we're not going to talk about that, then let's talk about the fact that you killed some jockeys.
Yeah. So, like the fact that jockeys are dying, and they're all horses that you own.
The crowd's part.
And the crowd's part, and all the people that were hanging around him were like, never mind.
I love the part where Jinx was afraid of the horse, but you could tell he actually startled the horse. You could see the horse jump.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Claudia, I'm not laughing at you. I'm laughing with the horse.
And then the horse did it again. She went back.
Yeah, so there's a couple if you look in the trivia for this episode, by the way, there is a couple of things about the racetrack that were incorrect. One of the things is it happens in the UK. It does not happen anywhere in the United States. They don't use the trumpet to announce races over there. That's an American thing. That's not an English or Scottish or wherever they have their racetracks over there. I actually don't know. And then like the colors, like the jersey colors or the helmet colors or something like that was all wrong. So there's some legitimate horse racing aficionados out there like, yeah, that was not it. But it played into the American idealism of what the place was. I really like the funny parts of Warehouse 13, and this was really rare with them. There were like bits and pieces, but they were just small, like one-liners out of the entire scene. Yeah, and the one-liners were good, but I couldn't pick out a favorite scene. It was very difficult for me because I really didn't see that too much. So I went to when Claudia calls Jinx Tricksies.
Trixie. Yeah. He's Trixie because he tricked her into not calling Artie and getting the facts herself.
I see what you did there, Trixie.
That was the first one that I wrote down. I also wrote down when they were talking to Monty in his home, like when she was, with the Myka with the flower in the ear and stuff like that. Monty in the warehouse at the end, I wrote that down just because it was cute and it was uplifting to Monty, really. And then kind of like what you were saying with Artie at the end, saying he needed help, when Abigail was just totally honest with Artie in the office. I wrote that down as well, but I'll take Trixie as my favorite.
That was a pretty good one. Yeah, I liked that one. So, I mean, there were so many good one-liners. We did, and the artifacts, let's see, we had Sitting Bull's blanket, which was what was causing the jockeys to have the adrenaline drained out of them because of the kid that was noticing the horses were getting
must have been more like Sitting Bull's patch of cloth because it wasn't long enough to be a blanket.
It was his patch of cloth.
Your scratch of cloth there.
What zapped Claudia in the butt on the way out? Jinx is like, karma.
I think the warehouse is trying to say something there.
It's coming. How many more episodes do we have left in the season?
This is 14 and it is a total of 20. So we have 6 episodes left in this season and then 6 episodes next season. I think last time I said erroneously that we had 12 episodes left. That was incorrect. We had 13. Now we have 12.
Now we have 12. So we're going to start. There's a new storyline that's about to come. So I think you'll see what that Zappos for.
Well, that's usually what happens. I've noticed in these, if you watch, each season that we've done this, like the first one is tying up all the loose ends. The next one is kind of the throwaway, okay, here's the rest of it. And then the third one is like, oh, well, that was really funny and that was really good. And then this one's kind of the lead up to the big bad. Here's all the problems that are going to happen. I've noticed.
Well, and again, we got to remember that at this point, they probably think that they haven't been told that they're going to get a renewal. So they're going through with the end of the season, hoping that they're going to get renewed, but they haven't been told yet. So they're trying to create a storyline that's going to get everyone to want to come back. And that's what we're going to start seeing here for a little bit, which to me, I feel like it's like a sacrifice that was unnecessary for some of those things that we're about to see. But, get there. We'll get there.
Indeed.
But yeah, the only food was the Snickers. I didn't see anything else. There was mention of cookies in a glove box. There was no
coconuts. There was a coconut
in Artie's hand. Yes, there was a coconut drink, which turned out to be his tea or something. It was funny that when Claudia and Jinx were like, "You're not coming to the motherland. You're not coming to England with us."
Nope. I have other things going on, and I'm not telling you.
None of your business.
Why was he so defensive? Because he didn't know that she was going to be the new B&B owner or the person to help him at that time.
I think at that point in time, Artie's just, he's on edge.
Being grumpy.
He's being
grumpy because
more grumpy. Yeah. He's being grumpier grump than normal Artie would be.
He's grumpy because he's angry, and he's angry at himself, but that anger gets
plus the ferns were dying
to everyone else.
The ferns were dying, and nobody knocked in an open door.
Right. I did have a quabble that I haven't talked about yet. So Pete and Myka get told to go to Vegas, right? Because the event had already happened. The guy had fallen out of the sky onto the golf cart, and they're in South Dakota. The investigation is still going on actively.
Right. Like, you just see the corner moving him. I'm like,
yeah.
They say don't touch
statements, the police lines around and everything.
Yeah.
And it's got to be at least 2 hours for them to fly.
Unless they got a Stargate somewhere in there. I mean, it could happen. It's,
you know
artifact.
What? Special artifacts. Bubble guppy artifacts.
All right.
Bubble guppy artifacts.
Fast because the golf cart was still sitting there, and now he's sitting inside the golf cart. I'm like, that's like evidence, but okay.
Yeah, the detective was taking an active statement. You would think that would be done by now. Yeah, so that was a quabble that I had. But do you guys want to take a guess at where I threw this? We now have 52 episodes, so 1 to 52. What do you think?
48.
48?
20.
20. I put this as number 8.
What?
It had a fantastic 3 stories. You had character development going on. You had the introduction of a new character, and we're really learning about the warehouse. You have some warehouse stuff going on with the zapping of Claudia. I mean, it was intriguing.
I see you.
I see how you are.
Yeah.
Changing it up there.
Mm-hmm. Now,
just trying to throw us a curveball. That's what it was.
Probably throw this somewhere else, but yeah, I put it as 8. And it's right below Lovesick, and that was when Blonde Myka, and it's right above Fractures, which is Lewis Carroll's Mirror.
That's a great episode. I love that even now, all these years, I can look back. Now, I don't remember the titles of many of them, but when you tell me about, I can say, oh yeah, that was a great episode. Most of these are great episodes. I only wish, like anything else, I wish we had more seasons of it.
Yeah, I don't really get to a bad episode. So 52 episodes, right? I don't really get to what I would consider to be a bad episode. Merger with Caution is 27.
One of my favorite ones.
Yeah. I think in the late 20s, early 30s, I'd say it starts tipping for me. But
Merger with Caution, that's one where the two heads were on different statues.
Yep.
Yeah, I like
that one. Was good. I like that one.
That's where she invited Cody.
I don't think there's been an episode other than, killing off Lena or killing off Jinxies. Those kinds of things, the holy crap moments.
Yeah, my worst one is Residence, which was the second episode. Yeah, all the ones on the bottom are like season 1.
Which is when a series is usually finding its footing, and kind of like the first season of TNG. It's not my favorite, but it's required in order to get to where you...
Head? Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. But it's required to get to where they were going. So I usually give the first season of any series I'm watching, I'll give it a good chance, because usually if by the second season, if it's still kind of like, this is just hard, then I usually have lost. Or
that's how it was with Section 31 last week. I was like, I paused it and it left it on pause for a long time.
I don't blame you. I mean, we talked about it over on Strange New Worlds Fancast. So if you guys want to hear what we have, what Shannon and I think about that, along with Jake, yeah, that's over on Strange New Worlds Fancast. It's actually, I looked it up afterwards. It was actually our episode 31 for Strange New Worlds Fancast.
Was it?
Yeah, it was 31.
Funny.
I did listen to it though. It was a good podcast.
Yeah. So there was some things around with it, but we found some good things along with it as well.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. I mean, it was fairly decent. It was a good hour and a half entertainment.
Do you guys have anything else about this episode of Warehouse 13?
No.
Okay.
No,
so we had some feedback that we received on YouTube. We've been teasing this for the last couple episodes, but we had a lot of feedback, so we wanted to give everybody their fair share. So 3 weeks ago, probably early January, actually, when I copied this, we had a comment on our pilot episode over on our YouTube channel.
Oh,
and
cool.
The comment was, I can't believe I'd never heard of this until now. This is delightful. One thing to note, just about every warehouse agent had an encounter with or a connection to the warehouse or an artifact. Artie was hunting down and sending off artifacts to the Russians before Mrs. F brought him in. Pete's mom is a regent. Myka's old partner was killed in a situation involving an artifact. Both of Claudia's siblings had their lives wrecked by artifacts. We know that Mrs. F has some sort of sense for when and where artifacts emerge, like in the episode where she shows Claudia an artifact being made. So maybe she knew their names and had Artie keep an eye out for them because she knows they have had those interactions.
So how does Lena play in all that?
We didn't get her backstory. We never found out how she became part of the warehouse team.
But that's a really cool observation from what did this person leave who they were? Or?
Amira Spectre 3023.
Okay. Well, thank you for that review. We appreciate that. And those are really good perspectives. And I didn't think about all.
I would imagine at one time Mrs. Frederick probably was scoping out what's her name?
Lena.
Because she could see doors. She can read people.
That's true. She could place the objects.
Because she had the talent of placing the objects.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
As Pete said, he's trying to become one with the lay to figure out where it needs to be placed.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were talking about reshelving. Well, they were saying reshelving or restocking or something like that. I'm like, You mean you put them up there and they weren't in the right place? Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, it's kind of dangerous.
Artie's not stocking
well, maybe
things
it
right.
was the backup log that Lena had got to yet.
Yeah.
That's a possibility.
And as you bring new things in, it probably balances the entire warehouse a little bit differently.
Yeah, that's true. Rebalancing.
Otherwise, I'm pretty sure he would have found this one before. I think
put it in his Pete
if
cave.
it was already on the shelf, I'm sure he would have found time to play with it.
He has played with artifact. I mean, the whole ping pong table. Right?
Pete cave. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. We also got another comment on our YouTube channel, which came in a couple of weeks ago. It was The Living the Dead, Season 4, Episode 11. So 3 weeks ago as we record this. And Stupid Stuff with a I, not a U, said, man, I hope they bring this show back at some point. I'm glad there's fans like you guys still making stuff about the show.
So are we. Really wish they would. I know. I remember a couple Dragon Cons ago that Eddie was trying to get it trending on Twitter. It was still Twitter at that time, I believe. To reboot Warehouse 13.
Would you want a reboot or a continuation?
I would want a continuation.
Continuation. Yeah, I'd want to know where everybody was at. But we're glad you found us, Stupid Stuff. And yeah, I really wish they could bring this show back too. I'm glad we're talking about it.
For so long that I wouldn't mind a reboot.
Reboot Warehouse 13.
It's
or
been
something.
Gone for so
do something.
That I don't normally like reboots, and I don't normally like because you feel cheapened, right? But it's been gone for so long that I wouldn't mind a continuation or a reboot, and then they still talk about the characters.
Or it could be, Claudia's now older and wiser and has found new warehouse people because Pete and Myka have retired from said warehouse.
Yeah, we don't know what happens. So spoilers, we know what happens at the very end. And in fact, the showrunner, Jack Kinney, is in the final scene, which he was the director of the episode, by the way. Did you guys know that? That Jack Kinney,
of this episode?
Yeah, he directed this episode. He directed a total of 7 episodes. This was the 3rd, so he's going to direct 4 more before we get out of here. And then it was written by somebody that was a staff writer for the entire 4th season. And this was the one episode that they got the written by credit, and that's Michael Jones Morales.
Cool.
Yeah.
But neat, we got YouTube feedback. That's awesome.
Yes. So at the very end, you know what happens. And because of that, I think a continuation would probably be better. But you got to get Claudia back. If you don't get Allison back as Claudia, it kind of ruins that whole thing. And since she's kind of moved on from acting, you'd have to get her back into it. That's just my interpretation of everything that's going on. So as long as she's on board, we know Pete's on board. We know Eddie's on board.
Eddie's on board all the way.
Wasn't it Eddie that was, I think, didn't Eddie say that she was on board? It's Joanne that's not.
And it would be difficult to have Pete without Joanne, without like breaking the series storyline at that point.
Yeah. Her hair was crazy again.
Went back with HG. She disappeared off into the sunset with HG and never to look back.
Well, that's a possibility. Her and HG are off on other artifact huntings.
I always think if that's the way they want to go, it would be nice to actually see it. For instance, Independence Day, when they did the second movie, it would have been nice to see Will back on screen just in his accident, right? And that's it. That's how you get it. But of course, he just didn't want to be a part of the project.
I don't think I saw the second one.
It's got Brent Spiner in it still, even though he died in the first one.
He died. I was going to say he died. How did they have him in there? Bubble guppies.
Yeah. So if you want to send us a great email or comment on our YouTube, but send us an email, because that's what we'll read on the show as well. You can always send feedback to our email at warehouse13fancast@gmail.com. That's warehouse, the numbers 13fancast@gmail.com. All right, Shannon, the normal question. I'm not going to give you any hints, but I'm going to tell you there is a winner here. It's probably not one you're going to pick, but do you want to hear the description for season 4, episode 15, Instinct, from IMDb, from Amazon?
Instinct.
Yeah, Amazon Prime Video or tvguide.com.
We're at Instinct. Oh.
Yeah.
Well, tell me what you consider a winner. Let's read that one.
tvguide.com, which I know
thought that was good. Since you said that's the one she won't pick. Yeah, it's usually that one.
Yep. H.G. Wells is working as a forensic scientist for the police in Wisconsin. While there, a person who is suspected of committing a crime but wasn't charged because of a lack of evidence comes running into the police station saying he did the crime he's accused of. His lawyer says he was coerced into confessing. HG, while examining him, sees something that makes her think that an artifact is involved with what happened to him. So she calls Myka, who along with Pete go and are surprised to see that she's not the person she was, that she's now living with a man and his daughter. And when an earthquake hits the warehouse, Artie, Claudia, Jinx, and Abigail try to find out what's causing it.
Ooh. So we get more HG.
This is the last time we get HG. No, actually, she's the very last episode she comes in to do a reading. But
I mean, Defiance.
She's starting Defiance here. So this is the second to last episode. You'll see her in full character, full episode, because she goes to Defiance. But I can tell you, I like the episode. But I like the fan fiction that was written of this episode way. SP, I think I sent you that one time.
Yeah, you sent us both.
But not me.
One is
I didn't get it.
No, that is a continuation from this episode that we're going to watch. So you can watch it and then you can go back and read it. And like, that makes sense. That's pretty good. Yeah, they did it better.
Do you know who else is in this coming episode?
No, tell us.
You've got a little girl. You've got the guy. Who else?
Detective? Ring a bell?
Which detective?
Captain Shaw from Picard season 3.
Todd Stashwick?
Yep. Ding, 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 ding.
Love Todd
Is he one of the
Stashwick.
detectives?
Yep.
Love Todd
Yeah, he's at
Stashwick.
the police department.
Yep. I think we talked about it before. So we get both him and Jamie next week. So that'll be cool to talk about.
Jamie.
All right. Until next week, I'm the Janitor SP.
Yeah. This is Sci-Fi Girl.
This is Ocean 363. Bye,
See you
guys.
next time. Bye.
She smells so good.
I need a Snickers bar now.
Thanks for joining us for an episode of the Artie's Addict Warehouse 13 Fancast. You can find all our episodes at warehouse13fancast.com. If you'd like to contact us, you can hit us up on our email at warehouse13fancast@gmail.com. We are a part of the Lone Wolf Podcast Network. You can hear more of this cast and other shows like it by checking out lonewolfpodcasts.com. The intro music is Sci-Fi Hybrid Intro by Soundmake, and the outro music is Science Fiction by Tunes to Go. Both were purchased on pond5.com.
I like your stand that it comes directly in front of your face. This
Mine?
Yeah.
Mine
this
or
whole
his?
thing, yours. I like yours.
Oh.
This whole thing tips over sometimes. If
Oh, well,
I'm not careful.
this thing I've had to finagle it because it's literally like there's a big ass stand, courtesy of SP, so that I didn't have to have, because the little plastic one that I'd had a little plastic one that I had, this thing is heavy, and so it kept going. It was top heavy.
Or
Yes. So he sent me one that I can actually like get right up to my face. It was like I had to like tighten it down good though, because it would just kind of go ee, and I'd be like, okay, my mic, I get closer to the I'm like, why is my mic moving?
We're just training you for your next date.
Oh, jeez.